Hi, I'm Sarah. We have already set our intentions and our prayers for this session, so enjoy and learn. That was quite interesting.
What was?
The prayer.
Why do you say that?
She says that.
Oh. Why does she say?
Because it was mostly explore.
Ah, okay. So, Explorer is visiting again. You know, you can't open her eyes.
I know. But this helps to keep her in the meditative state.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask the question why. Thank you.
Now you know.
Yes, I know the answer. I have quite a few questions today. I don't know if we'll get through them all or not.
Let's see where they lead us.
Most of these are from reviewing your last visit.
All right.
That's where most of these came from.
All right.
And then it may have sparked some idea of a previous visit by Thane or Chorus or No Name, 1800s girl.
Not so much.
Oh, there's some questions from them too, and the ancient one.
The questions are from you.
They are from me, but the things that they stated, never mind.
Gave you the ideas of questions. It's not them.
It is not them. They gave me questions to think about, and I need further answers on some of them.
Well, we shall see.
In a previous session, you mentioned that if an asteroid strikes Gaia, that she is okay with it since that is part of the plan. And she is part of the plan.
Yes.
Does the same type of acceptance include Father Mars?
Of course.
Is Father Mars okay with Earthlings visiting in person?
If that should happen, if it is part of his plan, if it should happen, then we know it's part of his plan.
Why were you smiling a few moments ago?
Father Mars, quote unquote, I know you humans call this Mother Earth. But you don't need to refer to Mars as Father Mars. That is for is, was, and now forever is for those beings who developed and lived and passed on.
Okay. Why would Gaia or Mars accept the idea of dying?
In this universe, dying is part of the cycle of life.
So if they would be destroyed by an asteroid, what happens to their consciousness?
Well, consciousness never dies, is never destroyed. But I suppose since you want...
Now, go ahead.
I was going to say, consciousness comes from source, goes back to source. Frankly, it never leaves source.
Oh, okay. That explained a lot of questions I've been trying to figure out how to question you with. Oh, that minute understanding. Wow.
It's not a minute understanding.
Well, it is, in my view, because it's a different interpretation of what I've known. And it's just that different way of looking at it answered a lot of questions.
That is normally the way growth and expansion happen.
Thank you. So then Mars was okay with an asteroid or some celestial object coming close to it to suck off most of its atmosphere and mess up its thing. Mess it up.
Part of the plan. Obviously.
I know.
And I guess you'd have to say that Mars was okay with that because the consciousness said to itself, that's really not a good description, but consciousness was aware when it happened at that specific moment, because everything is now anyway,
Right.
but at that specific moment, which took more than
A moment.
a moment in your time, in your way of thinking, in human way of thinking. Mars was in that, at that time, Mars consciousness was ready to accept, because that universal plan, Mars understood that. It wasn't a matter of, in your way of thinking, Mars consciousness was thinking about that and saying, okay, you can do it now, I'm ready. That's not quite how consciousness in general works. It's present. It is aware. There are, as you are aware, gradations of consciousness. Planetary consciousness is almost how do I say this? It isn't just human beings or Martians, but the sentience of living, shall we say, breathing, whatever it is that they breathe. Such beings are, that's the word, sentient. Planets and even some stars and other aspects of your universe are almost sentient. If you define sentience as thinking, consciously thinking, planning, communicating, but the universal, shall we say, consciousness is just below that. Does not think, does not get concerned, does not plan, does not react in a horrified manner if something happens. The universal consciousness and everything in it, other than sentient beings, is aware and accepting and basically loving, but without that thing that you human beings think makes you above such things. In a way, your consciousness is, because your consciousness does think, plan, communicate, all those things. So there's, maybe I should say, there's a fine line between planetary, etc., et al. Just read that, or she did. And that's a good way to say it. The planets, the solar systems, the things in your universe, other solar systems, other galaxies, we could go on and on. They have a living consciousness. And they love and accept the way things are. It's the sentient beings who get perturbed and don't want to accept. They want things this way. You're not alone in that, human beings. Other beings are and have been and will be the same way. That's why it's so important to explore your truth, your inner truth, as to who you are as an individual. And from there, consciously join the consciousness of Source. Taking all the steps that you must through meditation, through changing, or not changing. In a way it is, but recognizing belief systems that don't work for you on your spiritual journey, and replacing those systems with positive, loving, compassionate, kind belief systems, accepting, becoming more fluid in the consciousness of Source. I hear you typing.
Yeah, I'm thinking. But go ahead.
I have completed that particular monologue.
Okay, that's fine. Are there other planets where people living on them, the people living on them, inhabitants, have treated their planet the same as Earth has treated their planet?
The short answer is yes.
Is that a larger majority of consciousness in the universe that do it that way till they become enlightened and then change?
It's part of the spiritual evolution, let's put it that way.
Okay. Can a planet meditate, or does it take a higher level of consciousness to meditate?
It takes that higher level.
Okay.
Gaia and other planets and other objects in your created universe don't need to meditate. They are already very much in tune with Source.
Okay.
It's sentient beings who have to evolve spiritually.
Wow.
I think that's
Wow.
a good way of putting it. Wow.
Yeah.
Light bulbs coming on in your brain.
Mm-hmm. I don't think this next question applies, but I'll ask it anyhow. Does a planet also become enlightened and leave the 3D world? But based on what you just said, they cannot become enlightened because they already are.
Basically, they are.
Yeah.
In the truest sense of the word, in the deepest, all-consuming sense of the word.
Does Gaia get excited? Or, yeah.
Not emotionally excited. But the thought occurred to me that, well, what do you think earthquakes and volcanic activity is?
Excitement.
You could think of it that way.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, like when I wrote that question.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking about, because you were talking in the last session about the tumultuous times we are in, but it's not just us, it's Gaia going through a lot of stuff too. And that sparked the idea of, well, earthquakes, storms, tornadoes, volcanoes, to tsunamis. Yeah, there's a lot of turmoil going on inside of Gaia also. So, does she get excited? That's what led up to the question.
The excitement that I believe you're referring to is more of a sentient thing.
Yeah, the one I'm referring to is, but there are different...
Say it.
I have to form it first in my head. There are different frequencies that will represent excitement for the entity which is experiencing it. So in other words, an earthquake is excitement because it's a different frequency.
That is quite can't think of the word. But yes,
intuitive.
That'll work on your part. Intuitive. But you must remember that there are different frequencies of excitement.
Yes, I'm aware of that too.
Okay. Because she doesn't get negatively excited in that she's like, oh no, what's happening? It's more of an excitement because there's something happening.
Yeah, and there's changes taking place.
And it's not like she's thinking, oh, this is the next thing that will happen will be this and that and the other. No, she doesn't think that way. She's just, because she's not sentient, but she accepts it. And it's all part of her cycles that she goes through. And, she doesn't just, her consciousness does not just sit like a lump. But she can react to things that happen inside her, on top of her, on her surface. And it's all mixed in with, maybe I shouldn't say mixed in.
Part of?
Well, yes, her excitement frequencies are more aligned with who she is, her true self, although she doesn't think of it that way because she's not thinking with a brain.
She's not sentient.
She's not sentient, but she's aware, and the flow, the ebb and flow of her existence is all part of consciousness. Her consciousness, which comes from source.